So in response to a question on my YouTube channel, I'm going to cover which tools I have added to this palette over here. So the first ones are selection. So if I press this one, I have my lasso selection, that one my rectangle selection. So when you go to select in the menu, you have your lasso style. So that's the first two of them. This is save scene as. Um, that is something that is legacy. I had that for a while in there, but I don't use it anymore. I use the shortcut keys mostly for that. These are for locking components. So when you go to your menu, you have your edit, lock selected, lock unselected, lock invert, and unlock. So when I make a selection, now that is locked. When I invert it and unlock everything like that. These have shortcut keys by default, but I prefer to use these in my UI. These are grid visible, grid not visible, and grids. And what is that last one? When you press the O key, then you go to visibility, show work plane, you have active, you have never, always, and active. And you have for show grid, never, always, in inactive work plane. So that's those. So my work plane has been set to inactive. So when I set it to that one, that's the first one. It's always, no is never, and then the third one is active. So when I make a selection and press Shift Home, now it is visible. When I press the End key, now it disappears again. So that's something you can find in visibility, in the viewport properties. Over here I have my background constraints. That's something you can find in the basic tab. So you have your mesh constraints. That's these four: non-guide, background, and primitive. That's a form that I have integrated over here. Then cell trees, cell quads, and cell angles. That is something you find in your lists. So when I close everything, you have polygons by vertex, and then you have your three-sided polygons, your four-sided, and your n-gons. When you click these, then you see those get selected, but I have integrated that over here so that I don't have to navigate through the statistics panel to look for that functionality. Select my quads, that's this one plus 4, and then select n-gons, that's of course this one over there. So with these ones I don't have to go all the way to lists and then statistics and navigate all the way through over there. Use that a lot. Over here I have select, that's a form that I've created. That's something you'll find in the menu select. So all, invert, connected, grow, shrink, close loop, loop, next loop, previous loop, ring, and so on. So that can, I also added that to a pipe menu. So select, because I am on a European keyboard and the brackets don't work for me like that. So when I make a selection, I want to invert, I do that with a pie menu. But when I want other selections, I can simply do that and select my tool that I want. So select. Then lock work plane. When I press the Alt key, go to the options for the work plane. I have lock work plane to origin, which is over here. Selections visible, that is in my viewport properties. So in visibility, show selections. So if I make a selection and click this, then my selection is not visible, but it is active. As you can see, this can be handy if you want more clarity in your viewport. Show lights and cameras. It's also show lights and show cameras in viewport visibility properties. Back invisible and back same, that's inactive meshes. So, oh no, inactive meshes, sorry. So make inactive same as active and make inactive invisible. Also something that I use a lot. And the advantage is if you are working, I simply can click over here and do not have to press the O key, then go to inactive meshes and do that. So again, saving time. Weight maps and weight values, again that's in active meshes. So show weight maps, show weight values. Right now there are, oh yeah, the subdivision has been selected. So if I make a selection, so you see now my weight values are visible. When I uncheck it, weight values disappear. And if I turn off weight maps, I don't have a weight map visibility. I could also go to default and go to vertex map, but I prefer to just leave everything in default. And if I need something for a weight map, then I check show weight maps and show weight values. Just like that. So that's something that you can find in your active meshes, show weight maps, show weight values. Then indices, that's also in active meshes, if you want to know the indices for selected components. Backdrop, that's something that is in visibility, I believe, or no, it's drawing control, I think. Or is it visibility? So that's the reason why I've integrated that, so that I don't have to go and search for it all the time. Drawing and control. And after using it a while, you forget where it was in the interface. So where is my backdrop? Background imagery. Is it active meshes? I think it should be visibility, meshes, instances, pivot centers. Yeah, oh, here it is, visibility, show backdrop. So that's the reason why I've integrated that over here, so that I don't have to look for it. Then fall-offs. Fall-offs is something that you will find in view show fall-offs. So now it is been set on. So for instance, if I activate the move tool, activate my linear fall-off, and now click on show fall-offs, then you see a colorization of the fall-offs. Sometimes I use it. It's been a while since I've done so. So you see that the colors update with show fall-offs on. Oops, I've selected the wrong one. So this gives you a bit of a preview, if you will, when you are working with your fall-offs. So that is show fall-offs. Again, that was something that you can find in view show fall-offs. Then BB, that's for bounding box. So that is something you can find in your item and properties. I need to drag that down. Display, and over here you have bounding box. So that's the BB over here. Deformers, again, viewport, visibility, driving and control, enable deformers. Then wireframe settings, and over here that's also everything has to do with visibility. So wireframe default, so that is something you can find here, wireframe and default. Then vertices, show vertices or not, that is something in active meshes, I believe. So show vertices, always, and show vertices never. If I select that command over here, then you see view 3D, view 3D, show vertices mode, space always. And if you edit that command, if I go to my form editor, look for that form, so vertices, you see view 3D dot show vertices question mark. If you write the command like that, then it toggles it on and off. So point size, I'm going to set that to 4, and it becomes more visible. So no wireframe and vertices, all wireframe and vertices, no wire, uniform, colored, and that's something that you can find in active meshes and inactive meshes. So shading style and shading style default or wireframe and so on. That has been integrated over there. The point size is an preferences setting. So if I go to my preferences and it's in OpenGL, so you have your OpenGL point size. If I set that over here to 5, then you see in the command history, pref.value, OpenGL.pointSize 5. So that is a preferences setting. Again, if I go to my form editor, find form, point size, see pref.value space OpenGL.gl point size without anything behind it. Gives you a pop-up. And when I set it to 2.5 now you see the point size has been updated, and when I go back to my preferences OpenGL, you see 2.5. So that's a preferences setting. To work plane position, rotation, and to work plane position and rotation. That is something that you can find in your setup tab. And in setup, yep, the work plane position or to work plane rotation. And the third one that I have created, the work plane position and rotation, is a macro, I believe, that does the both. So system, form editor, find form. Yep, that's a macro, so it does both to work plane position and to work plane rotation in a macro that I have recorded. So record a macro and do a to work plane position and to work plane rotation, and then you have both in one tool. Center to pivot. Anyway, that is something that I haven't used for a while in this tablet, but I have a pie menu for that. So item, pivot, center, pivot show, center show, center to bounding box. But I should, and I, oops, my 5. Sorry about that, I'm messing around a bit. It's grayed out. Why is it grayed out? Yep. So Alt D, center to bounding box, and I have to, of course. Sorry about that. So center, select it, Alt D, center to bounding box, and then I can say bottom, for instance, like that. I have to select it, of course. But anyway, that's not integrated over here anymore. That is something that I have created a pie menu for. Then mouse and tablets. So when I click mouse, then my input is mouse. When I click tablet, my input is tablet, a Wacom tablet. Again, that is something that you can find in your preferences. So mouse tablet, that is for the 3D mouse, I believe, or no, sorry, remapping, no, input. Here, where is my input? Anyway, after a while you forget where everything is, so find form, mouse, pref.value, remapping, so it should be in remapping, and where is it? Oh yeah, input device, mouse, input device, tablet. So those are those two. So when I do some sculpting, or when I do something that for which I need pressure sensitivity, then I can click tablet over here, and now you see in my preferences it says tablet, and when I don't need tablet anymore but mouse, when I click it, you see input device now is mouse. So again, you can capture those commands in the command history. So if I change it over here and I set it to mouse, then input device you see up here, down there, pref.value space remapping dot apps inputs space mouse, and that has then been entered over here for that command. Then trackball rotation. So when I turn that on, I have trackball rotation. When I turn it off, I don't have trackball rotation. Pretty straightforward. Again, that is a preferences setting, and to make it easy to find, again, form editor, find form, trackball rotation, and that's also in OpenGL. So where was my, okay, over here, OpenGL, and then, yep, over here, trackball, so we viewport, OpenGL, preferences, OpenGL, viewport rotation, trackball rotation. I'm going to close that down, and then mouse wheel acceleration over here. Oh, yeah, I'll close it down again. That's again in preferences. Going to find form, mouse wheel acceleration. That's in remapping. So remapping, over here you have mouse wheel acceleration. Right now it is 0. So when I scroll my mouse middle scroll wheel, then I don't zoom in and out. When I set it to 100, see now it's mouse wheel acceleration 100%. Now I can zoom in and out. But I usually turn it off while modeling, because if I set it on and when I make a selection, now it's all right, but sometimes you also do that. You do a bit of scrolling, and that's very annoying. Now, of course, it doesn't happen, but sometimes you see you actually accidentally zoom in or out. So this is handy to say I don't want any zooming when I scroll my mouse wheel, and when I press the F8. Now I also don't have zooming, so I simply press 200, and now I can zoom in and out with scrolling. And when I want to turn it to 0 again, now when I scroll, I don't zoom in and out anymore. And then the last one is a macro. That is a macro that even if you have a polygon selection, that it goes from sub D to face, while returning the selection, retaining the selection. Normally in vertices mode, you can press the tab key. In edge mode also, you can press the tab key, but when you press the tab key in polygon mode, then you only make the selection sub D, and this macro makes sure that I can have a selection and go to sub D in polygon mode while retaining the selection. And that's a macro. So when I go to over here, so that's poly.convert. face subpatch true, select.invert, and then poly.convert face subpatch true, select.invert. That's that macro. And that's it. I've covered everything in that palette, I believe. So I have to update it. And as you can see, I had to search for a lot of stuff in the UI, but that's the advantage is that you don't have to search through the UI. Disadvantage, of course, is that when you do want to update everything or you do want to search for it in the UI, you have forgotten where to look for it, so it may take a little bit of time. But generally, this really speeds up my workflow without having to go through the UI to look for these and so on. So hope you find it useful. Bye.